With the clutch side completed, we move to the magneto side. Here I'm putting in a circlip to retain the main bearing. This is followed by the points cam drive key. It's a long square key, the idea being that the cam can slide up and down on the main shaft. So with the key in place, there's then a spring to keep the cam pushed against the back of the magneto base plate. With those in position, we can put the points cam on, if I can find it. Luckily the cam is marked with a directional arrow for rotation, so obviously the arrow has to be seen and the rotation has to match the engine rotation, and then it's just slipped on. The magneto base plate then goes on. You have to open the points to get it over the cam that you've just fitted. Apart from that, the only tricky bit is feeding the high tension lead and the lighting lead through the casing. There's also a woodruff key for locating the flywheel in its correct position. This is one of the last things to go on. And lastly, the flywheel is put in position. Just be careful that you don't tip the woodruff key and push it out behind as you push the flywheel into position. Now the top end. Here you can see me smearing the base gasket with sealer. This time I've actually put the base gasket on before the piston. I don't know if that's easier or not, but it worked. The piston is then washed for one final time, just to make sure there's no dust or dirt on it. And then slipped into place and the gudgeon pin pushed home. A gentle tap to make sure it's seated. And then the circlip fitted. Always a fiddly job. Again, another little smear of sealer on the base of the barrel, and then that is slipped into place as well. Most important here is that the piston ring gaps line up with their locating pegs. Then just compress them, and on a little engine like this you can use your fingers quite easily until they slip into the barrel itself. A few turns over just to make sure everything's located and running well, and then I've bunged in a bit of lubricant as well. The cylinder head was given a wash, as I seem to have forgotten to do it before. The studs are counterbored down into the head and a bit fiddly to remove, but after that it's a straightforward wash and clean. Now these little engines don't have a head gasket, so you have to ensure that the head is flat. Here I have a piece of plate glass with some grinding paste on it, and I started wiping over the head over the top to get it flat, but even after several minutes there seemed to be a couple of score marks in it. So I ended up getting a bit of 400 wet and dry, placing this on top of the glass and removing a bit more material till I got rid of these score marks. Start off with the paper dry, gentle movements, then give it a good squirt with WD-40 or equivalent and try and get a nice flat surface. Then it's back to the grinding paste. Just keep at it then. Luckily it didn't take too long afterwards until the matte grey finish is even and right across the face of the cylinder head. See? Before fitting the engine into the wheel itself, I thought it'd be a good opportunity to put the wheel in place and assemble all the rear brakes. With the wheel being empty, it's a lot lighter and could be taken in and out as required without too much effort. This bike has rod brakes, so I couldn't use the stand I've got, as it supports the bike by its bottom bracket, and these rods travel underneath the bottom bracket. So I ended up turning the bike upside down on the bench and working my way through it from the handlebars to the brake pads themselves. The assembly is straightforward. It's just you have to fiddle with them to get everything to work right. Both brake pads rub the wheel at the same point and grip the full surface of the rim. Obviously with a push bike you're not travelling with so much weight as this thing with the engine built into the back wheel, so you have to try and get everything as good as you can. That's it all done. Enough for today. Thanks for watching.